তো চলো আজকে আমরা রুট রিডিস্ট্রিবিউশন দেখব ইউজিং রুট ম্যাপ। মানে আমরা রুট ম্যাপটাকে রুট ডিস্ট্রিবিউশনে কিভাবে ইউজ করতে পারি। আমরা আগের দিন রুট ম্যাপের একটা ইউজ দেখেছিলাম, সেটা কিসে দেখেছিলাম, যে মেট্রিক সেট করার ক্ষেত্রে, তাই তো। আজকে আমরা যেটা দেখব সেটা হচ্ছে কিভাবে রুট রিডিস্ট্রিবিউশনে আমরা রুট ম্যাপ ইউজ করে অনেক কিছু কাজ করতে পারি। চলো একটা ছোট্ট টোপোলজি তৈরি করি। প্রত্যেককেই বলছি বাড়িতে ছোট টোপোলজি দিয়ে ফার্স্টে স্টার্ট করবে, দেন গো ফর বিগ অ্যান্ড কমপ্লেক্স টোপোলজি। তোমরা রুট ডিস্ট্রিবিউশনের প্র্যাকটিসে মাল্টিপল রুট কিভাবে ক্রিয়েট করবে সেটা আমি আজকে আর অন্য একটা ভাবে দেখিয়ে দিচ্ছি। তাহলে মাল্টিপল রুট ক্রিয়েট করতে গেলে তোমাদের মনে হতে পারে যে অনেকগুলো ডিভাইস লাগে, নট নেসেসারি। তো চলো, এইটা আমাদের ছোট্ট টোপোলজি। সাপোজ এইটা আমাদের 12.0.0.0/24, আর এটা আমাদের 23.0.0.0/24। তা আমরা মাল্টিপল, এটা আমাদের ধরো EIGRP ডোমেন, EIGRP অটোনোমাস সিস্টেম 10, আর এটা সিম্পল OSPF এরিয়া 0। তো আমরা কি করব, এই রাউটারে কিছু লুপব্যাক তৈরি করব। ধরো 1.1.1.1/24 বা 32। এই লুপব্যাকগুলোকে আমরা EIGRP-তে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করাবো এই নেটওয়ার্কে। সিমিলারলি আমরা এইখানে কিছু লুপব্যাক তৈরি করব। ধরো এই দুটো লুপব্যাক তৈরি করলাম OSPF রাউটারে, R3-তে। এই দুটো রুটকে আমরা OSPF-এ অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করব, তারপরে এগুলোকে রিডিস্ট্রিবিউট করব অ্যাজ উই হ্যাভ ডান আর্লিয়ার। তো চলো আমরা 1/1 কনফিগার করি। এরকম ছোট ছোট টোপোলজি নিয়ে প্র্যাকটিস করবে, তাতে তোমাদেরই সুবিধা হবে। ইন্টারফেস ফাস্ট ইথারনেট 0/0, নো শাট, IP অ্যাড্রেস 12.0.1, exit, interface loopback 1, IP address 2, three, So show IP interface brief. We have one physical interface and 3 loopback interface. So configure terminal router EIGRP 10, no auto summary, network 12.0.0.0, network, network, and network. So all these networks are advertised in EIGRP. Now go through R3. Configure terminal, interface fast Ethernet 0 by 1, no shut, IP address, exit, interface loopback 1, IP address, interface loopback 2, IP address, exit. Now configure OSPF. গৌতম বুঝতে পারছো তো? গৌতম কোনো ডাউট হচ্ছে না তো?
না স্যার, বুঝতে পারছি। হ্যালো।
হ্যালো।
হ্যাঁ, শুনতে পাচ্ছেন?
হ্যাঁ পাচ্ছি।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, অসুবিধা নেই।
Router OSPF 1. 1 is a process ID. We know it is not an autonomous system number. In case of OSPF, network 23.0.0.0, then wildcard mask, and then area. Network, then area. Network. Then area. So router 1 and 3 is configured. Now configure router 2. Configure terminal, interface fast Ethernet 0 by 0, no shut, IP address 12.0.0.2, IP address 23.0.0.2. So now we have to configure both EIGRP and OSPF in router 2, EIGRP for this routing domain and OSPF for this routing domain. So router EIGRP 10, as we have used EIGRP 10 here, no auto summary, network 12.0.0.0 to 55. We see that EIGRP adjacency comes up, a new adjacency with R1 on fast Ethernet 0 by 0, and neighbor is 12.0.0.1. Now go for OSPF configuration, router OSPF 1, process ID could be anything, any number. It needs not to be match, or it needs not to be unique. network 23.0.0 area 0. When we configure OSPF, we didn't use no auto summary command. Even in case of EIGRP in current iOS version, we do not need to use no auto summary command because auto summary is disabled by default nowadays. But in case of OSPF, even in older iOS, we do not configure no auto summary command. Why? Because OSPF is a pure classless routing protocol. Remind it, OSPF is a pure classless dynamic routing protocol. So OSPF adjacency is completed and never process 1. So now it is time to configure redistribution. So first we redistribute routes of EIGRP into OSPF, then we redistribute routes OSPF into EIGRP. So router OSPF 1 redistribute EIGRP, then mention the autonomous system, then subnets. Exit. For verification, you can check in R3, show IP route. All the EIGRP routes are in R3's routing table. As E2 route we know by default, E2, we can change it, the type E2 to E1, but all these external routes which are coming from EIGRP routing domain are E2 by default. And you see the AD value is 110, and hence we have not configured any seed metric, any metric during redistribution. The seed metrics remain 20. Any doubt up to this point?
No, sir.
Very good. Ankit, if you have any doubt, you can text here. Okay? I think this will be familiar for you now. So now we have to configure R2 to redistribute OSPF routes into EIGRP. So router EIGRP 10 redistribute OSPF 1, the process ID, and then you have to select the metric values. You can select bandwidth, then it comes delay, then it comes reliability, then it comes load, and then MTU. We know we can use the default metric command, or we can use route map to redistribute EIGRP without redistribute OSPF into EIGRP without setting metrics, but that is something different. We have already done it. So now verify in R1 show IP route We are verifying that whether these routes are, whether the OSPF routes are in R1's routing table or not. Yes, all these OSPF routes are in R1's routing table. R1 is a router which is in EIGRP routing domain. So all these external routes are learned via EIGRP. That's why it is DEX. D stands for EIGRP and EX stands for EIGRP external. This route, the DEX means these routes are from some external routing domain, and you can verify the AD value 170, which is for external EIGRP. For internal EIGRP, the AD value is 90. And this is the metric which is calculated based on our specified metrics during redistribution. So you can check here, show IP route, show IP EIGRP topology 2.2.2.2. So see here, everything which is considered during metric calculation is here. Though we know only delay and bandwidth is used, rest are not used, like reliability, minimum hop count, minimum MTU, loading, hops. These are not used during metric calculation of EIGRP. So now what is our target? Now all these routes are redistributed into OSPF routing domain, and all these two routes are redistributed in EIGRP routing domain. But I don't want that. I want 1.1.1.1 will not redistributed in this routing domain. That means in R3's routing table, if we see in R3 routing table, we have all these three routes which are coming from EIGRP routing domain. Even this also. I don't want to see this route in R3's routing table. That means I don't want to redistribute this route. I don't want to redistribute this route when I am redistributing EIGRP routes into SPF routing domain. Only these specific routes. So how do we do? We have a process, we have a tool, we have a very, I have told you earlier, we have a very useful tool called route map. Route map is a very useful tool. From route map we can do lots of things. Here we use route map. So first of all, we have to use ACL, access control list. We have to use an ACL, and all this another thing we perform our redistribution in R2. R2 is responsible for redistributing all these three routes of EIGRP routing domain into OSPF routing domain, and all these two routes of OSPF routing domain into our EIGRP routing domain. So the filtering of this route, specific this route, will be performed on R2. So how? So first of all, we need ACL. ACL is a beautiful application, not only used for allow or deny traffic, it is also used for match traffic. So access list 10 permit 1.1.1.1, and this is a wildcard mask. In this case, permit is used for match. Permit is used for match. That means we are matching this specific route using the permit statement. We know ACL is generally used to permit or deny the traffic, but in this context, we are using ACL to match the specific traffic. Any doubt? Up to this point?
No, sir.
So then we have to create a route map. Route map, suppose we can use demo. Deny, we can use a sequence number 10, because here we are going to deny this specific route from being redistributed from EIGRP routing domain into SPF routing domain. Then match IP address, the ACL number 10. This 10 is the sequence number of this route map, and this 10 is the access list number. We need to create another route map statement for rest of traffic. The same name, demo, but we need to create this, because if we do not create this, all these three routes will be filtered out over during redistribution from EIGRP routing domain to OSPF routing domain. If we do not use this statement, all the routes will be filtered out. So just go for the statement, execute command and exit. We do not need to do nothing. Then router OSPF 1 redistribute EIGRP 10 subnets route map 10. Before executing this command, I want to see you the show route map demo. So sequence 10, sequence 20, deny sequence 10, permit sequence 20. So now demo. So what we have done, we just filtered out this route. From being redistributed from EIGRP domain to OSPF routing domain. So now let's check R3's routing table. We have this route already in it. So check again. We don't have 1.1.1.1/32 routes in R3's routing table. So we don't have 1.1.1.1/32 in R3's routing table. So, what is the process? Create an ACL to match the specific route. Create an route map. To deny the route. To deny match the route with the ACL number or name. Then apply route map. Here I want to see you how this E2 routes is changed during redistribution. Go to R2. Here router OSPF1, redistribute, EIGRP 10, subnets, metric type, select one for E1 routes, then go to route map, demo. Now check in R3. Previously it was E2 routes, now it is E1 routes. So what is the significance of E2 and E1 routes? We have already learned, and we will learn again when we cover OSPF in detail. External type 1 and external type 2, that is not part of this context. But here, how do we can change the type of routes those are redistributed into OSPF?